that our mouths are longer and sharper. Hormonal fluctuation. And that's why you need to know yourself. There are certain times that you cry for no reason. You should ask yourself, why am I angry? Why am I crying? Is it the hormones that are fluctuating? And if as a man, you know that women go through these fluctuating phases, you also know how to relate with them, whether in the office or at home or wherever. So emotional intelligence helps you to relieve stress. It helps you to communicate effectively. It helps you to empathize with others. Because if you are not emotionally intelligent, you think people are just being lazy or people are just being something. But if you understand, you put yourself in their shoes, then you can empathize and relate better with them. It helps you to recognize other people's needs and help to meet them. How can you be emotionally intelligent? You need to be self-aware. I know this is loaded, but I'm just introducing the facts to you. Self-awareness. You should know how you are feeling at every point in time. So if you know that, oh, I'm feeling a bit irritable, I should not be having this conversation now, because it can degenerate into something else. Self-management. Put yourself in check. You should be your own boss. You should learn to lead yourself before you go leading others. If you can't lead yourself, you cannot lead any other person. Some of us want to be leaders, but we can't lead ourselves. Self-management, social awareness. You should know where we are. I had a fine this conversation, we can't have it here. We are by the roadside. That's how we say it in Ghana, isn't it? Yes. But some of us will come and say all of the wrong things at the wrong places. Social awareness. You don't know when people are there, what should be said, what should not be said, and even how it should be said. Relationship management. Depending on who you are relating with. You can be relating to somebody who is your boss, but is also your friend, and is also your business partner, perhaps your pastor. That same person. You should know when you should relate to him as a pastor. You should know when you should relate to him as your boss. You understand what I'm trying to say? Or whoever you are in your workplace, you are not that at home. So you are a professor, yes, in the classroom. And at home, you are a wife, and you are a mother, and you are a daughter. Perhaps. Right? Manage your emotions. And I have a reference for you in James 1:19-20. A man who has no control over his emotions is like a ship. No control. Blown by every wind of doctrine. Anybody says they release you, then you just bring disgrace onto yourself and onto the faith that you profess. Conflict management. If you are going to have relationships that thrive, then you must know how to fight and fight well. And conflict is functional. As a sociologist, we say conflict is necessary. If there are no conflict, there will be no peace building efforts and people to work in that space. There will be no police. Conflict is functional. And so long as we are human, there will be conflict. But what do we do with it? If some people say, oh, we love each other, we are in a very good, we never fight. Then maybe one of you is pretending, or you both are pretending. But if you really want to be real, there will be something that will lead to some disagreement. But even when you have to disagree or fight fairly and constructively. Not to destroy, but to build each other up. So the person will say, oh, after this, we have become back better and stronger. Sometimes it happens, not to destroy each other. No eye rolling or showing of contempt. Sometimes you know what you say, but it's the contempt you show the person. Each time they remember the way you looked at them, they don't want to have anything to do with you again. Women, let's watch it. Check the tone and intention. And not only women, even men do. They make you feel like you are not even among human beings. The tone and the intention. Blaming people, critical comments, seeking to humiliate. My mother likes to tell a story of a couple who got a visitor, and then the man calls the wife, Abba. And I know who born in Abba drew the last time he was thinking so bad What's the name of that medicine I gave to you? Sometimes people communicate to humiliate another. What we forget is that, especially when they are family, as we seek to humiliate them, it wraps up on us. Right? Or a man tells a wife, you are so stupid. Or a wife tells the husband, you are so stupid. So you took money to go and marry a stupid wife. And all of that. We need to be think through these things and avoid being defensive when it comes to, because the more defensive you get, sometimes it makes the conflict escalate. And I'm talking to myself, all of us. Edit before you speak. Edit, delete, edit. A story is told of a couple again who were fighting. The man was insulting, and the woman said, "This insult you are spewing out, let me know the terms, the boundaries." In other words, are we insulting each other so we dissolve this marriage? Or are we insulting to continue? So I know the rules of the game. If we are insulting to end or then I know which words to choose. Or channel, then I also know which words to use. Right? Boundaries. What the terms of reference? What are the terms of reference for the message? If you are insulting each other, then I can choose my vocabulary very well. But if we have any intention of continuing this relationship, so ask yourself, edit. If I don't say this thing, what will happen? If I don't say it, nothing will happen. Because if I say it, I can't take it back. So if you are not sure, then just keep quiet. Silence can never be misquoted. And offer repair attempts. Sometimes when you see that things are getting a bit heated, try to mitigate it with a bit of humor. Try to repair. And it helps to keep the relationship going. Finally, let me speak to committing to the covenant. Every relationship is a covenant. It's not only the marital relationship, it's a covenant. And I want to make reference to the Bible of what it teaches us. First is love, the foundation. Love is action. It's not just words. Jesus says, open your heart to love. Love each other as I have loved you. There is no greater commandment. And if in everything I've said, they are just even going to move by that. Loving each other as Christ loved us. That's the complete teaching. I don't know how else to put it. Then we talk about sacrifice. Lay down your life for each other. Sacrifice is what makes relationships thrive. Sacrifice. Tolerance. Bear with one another. Be patient. Ephesians 4:1-3 says, patient and bear with one another in love. Some of us, we have zero tolerance for anything, for people's mistakes, for people's weaknesses. Meanwhile, we are ourselves also not perfect. So if the relationship will thrive, we need to learn to be tolerant. It's easier said than done. I'm not saying that I am an expert in any of these, but we all need to build each other up. Forgiveness, a commitment to the covenant, to forgive 70 times 7. Over and over. Over and over. And not only forgiving others, but even forgiving our own selves when we fall and fail and deciding to go ahead. Intercede. You need to pray for each other. Sometimes in a couple relationship, you have this partner, the devil has taken on you. This one, this one is dead and gone. You have spoken, the person is not listening. Maybe it's time to stop speaking. It's time to pray for the person and intercede. Standing in the gap for each other. And that is the Christian walk. Sometimes when you are so strong, another brother or sister is weak. And that's why we need to hold each other's hands. As soldiers, when the soldier falls, you don't leave the soldier to die. You take him along. Pray. It's very, very important. And you can only know if a brother or sister needs prayer if you are asking of them and looking and asking questions and knowing if they need prayer. Reciprocity. If a relationship will thrive, you need to do unto others as you want done unto you. I can't explain this. I don't need to explain this. And then back each other up in tough times. When one falls, the other is there to hold him up. That's in Ecclesiastes 4:3. So what are the take homes? Given everything I've said, I just want to summarize in these, that a healthy, thriving relationship requires constant attention. Some of us say that relationships are like an election. Once you win it, you stop campaigning. That is a fallacious statement. Once you've won the woman over, why must I still keep courting and campaigning? Election will be won it. But relationships are not an election. Once you build it, you must tend it, you must nurture it. Otherwise, yes, otherwise it will die. It is work. Relationship is work. Whether in the office, there are some difficult colleagues. You see them and your faith is beginning to shake. There are spouses who are difficult. All of us, we are difficult sometimes. And that is why we must understand that it is work. And be very intentional to work it out. So work out your salvation, work out your relationships. If you leave them, they won't work themselves and they will die. The second take home is that relationships need trust. And these days it's lost. Nobody trusts anybody. We are afraid of each other. Oh, you ask Roya. Yes, we are people of faith. Dependability. If your relationships will thrive, you need to have realistic expectations. Sometimes you need to manage your expectations. So you don't put too much pressure on each other. You need to care. Caring. And men can also care. It's not only women who should care. You need to have intimacy. Relationships require intimacy on 5 main levels. Intellectual intimacy, emotional intimacy, psychological intimacy, physical and spiritual intimacy. Ask yourself, in all the relationships you are in, how are you connecting intimately? Some of us, even with our spouses, we don't have these. We are married but emotionally disconnected. Spiritually disconnected. Psychologically disconnected. Intellectually disconnected. We think that our spouse is stupid or I can't understand anything. They are the only intelligent ones. But if the relationship will grow and thrive, we need to be connected on all these levels. And finally, I would say that if the relationship would work and thrive, whatever the relationship is, it requires a consistent oiling of the wheel of forgiveness and understanding that we are in a covenant relationship, whether with our spouses, with our children, with our friends, within the fellowship. It's a covenant. And we must constantly forgive each other. May the Lord be our help, even as we seek to build thriving relationships. Amen.
Just for a moment. Usually, I will stand at some point and say, your time is up. Is it awestruck, or I was just dumbfounded? And that was amazing. I'm sure you all of us aware. Because of our time, we'll take just 2 questions. Where are the 2 of you? Yourself? Did you came with doctor? I would have not taken your question. You go ask her too. I thought it came with you. Alright, so you and just 2 grades.
Thank you very much. And it's a powerful lecture that we gave to us. Please, I had a man at where I stay that do not follow our belief systems, but he speaks for his work away, and sometimes I want to be a closer to him. Like Bible said, we should not be only looking on behaviors. So, in regards to the discussion, how then do I relate to him? Or how can I relate to him?
Let me take the other question as well before.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I want to ask, I just don't feel like speaking, or I just don't feel like being around people. On and off, sometimes it's okay. In such moments, you go about telling people, oh, that's how I am. Or you go back and apologize, oh, sorry, you were speaking to me, I didn't get, or something. Because sometimes people think that maybe you saw them, you didn't do it. The last time someone said, she didn't hear me beating her, but I did. So I had to do it again. So some of these things, people may have grudges against you that you have no idea. So how do I go about that?
Thank you very much. These are very good questions. It means you listened to me. So I'll start from the bottom. And I'm sure that if I have met you in many situations, I'll be one of the people who bear a grudge against you. And that's why I spoke about self-awareness. If you are in a place alone, fine. At the very moment another person shows up, you need to be self-aware to notice that another person has shown up. And I'm not saying go shouting, hey, hi, and be the extroverted person. But if you want to greet the person, let it be audible enough. Oh, hello, how are you? You have to be very intentional about it. And you have to manage the mood swings. A lot of us have mood swings. Right? If you don't manage your emotion, the mood swings, you shut doors. You lose opportunities. Because the people who open doors for you, they misunderstand. And that's why you need to know yourself that, oh, I have certain moods at this time, I need to keep it in check. Right? So I'm happy that you have done what we call an introspection. You know yourself, work at it. Right? The second question, do not be unequally yoked. Otherwise, how do we, so the person is of a different faith or persuasion, and so you don't want to relate. How do we get the gospel across to them? So relate. Of course, very conscious of the fact that bad company corrupts good manners. So you must know the boundaries, the extent to which you go. But it is as you relate to them and they observe your way of life that they perhaps would ask the question, what is it about this brother? He seems very different. He's honest, he's truthful, and they may even come asking you questions. So you relate with them and share your faith with them, but leave the conviction and the conversion to the Holy Spirit to do. That's one, it is not our job. So don't say I've preached them, I've invited them to the meeting, fellowship, they are not coming, so this is a lost case. Hey, even you are not a lost case. Nobody is a lost case. So yes, we must relate, but we must determine the extent to which we want to go. So we are not drawn into their ways, but rather we impact them positively to want them to desire to want to know our God. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if I'm answering the question anyone wants to add to it.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. We do need another session. In fact, myself, of course, I have loads of questions now that I've never asked. You see, especially the one that they said that if I love you, I'll like you. Have you heard men say that? Men are the ones who are guilty of that. If I like you, if I love you, then I have to like you because of peace. All right. Thank you very much, Doc. I know you are a doctor, but not a medical doctor, but you treated that very surgically. I'll take your question now.
Thank you.
She's going to kill me.
Oh, no.
No, I'm socially saying that it's not any.
I know. Thank you so much. But you were saying that if you are speaking with somebody and then the person raises his or her voice, you just move away. Assuming you are speaking with the vice chancellor, you being a lecturer, and he raises his voice, what would you do?
The vice chancellor is a human being. The president is a human being. Every person is a human being. I don't know about you, but I have been socialized to respect people, but but not afraid of anybody. So if I was speaking to the Vice Chancellor, my Vice Chancellor is female, and she raises her voice, I'll say, Madam Vice Chancellor, because you have raised your voice, I will come back to you another time to have this conversation when you have been able to moderate your mood. And I've done that to people, even my father, to my head of department. If you raise your voice, to my husband, the very moment you raise your voice, I'm like, you know what? I can do worse. And because I don't want to do worse, can we postpone this conversation until when you are, quote unquote, sober? Promotion comes from the Lord. You see, when you do that, and I'm not just theorizing here, these are things that I have done. And I still do, and I won't stop doing. Because when you do that, people respect you. So in the workplace, the things that people are hiding under tables to say, everybody knows that this one, Dr. Tetteh will say it. And they are often the ones who come and say, go and say it for us. Because I'm not saying it just as an agenda, but as a matter of principle. As a matter of respect. If I cannot raise my voice at you, why would you want to do that to me? So respectfully tell people your boundaries. The emphasis is on respectfully communicating your boundaries. But communicate, you must.
Only this is one of the sessions that I'm happy is recorded that I want to go back and listen again and again so that it will just really sink in. Because this is loaded. I'm not even saying that. Loaded. After hearing such loaded, you want to give it loaded, you know, hey, loaded sponsorship. So please go very deep and bring the highest denomination, a few of them, put them together, and let's sponsor the next meeting.